Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of the Animal Homegrown program, using only bodyweight bands to make hypertrophy occur. This might just maintain your gains, but we hope to maybe even grow a little bit too, just wishful thinking. But today is push, chest, shoulders, and triceps, and I promise you guys, I have made, if you think you're strong, I've made I think the hardest bodyweight band workout possible. At least it was for me, because there are some exercises where I could only do 6 reps. And so if you think you can't load heavy enough just doing bodyweight bands, you're incorrect. So a big thing again, guys, we're trying to focus on 6 to 30 reps, somewhere in there, putting lots of effort forth in each set and taking those sets to momentary failure. I want you to stop before your form breaks down though. So I want to keep strict form. So let it either form stops or we actually reach muscular failure. So to start this workout, we're gonna do a 5-minute cardio warm-up. Again, just a general cardio warm-up. I have the Stairmaster at home. You could go out walking or do something like that. That'd be perfectly fine. Then we're gonna do just a generalized shoulder girdle, chest, shoulder warm-up. We're gonna go first, and we're gonna do 2 rounds of this. It's YTWL. So just think of the letters. You can do this with a band. You could also do this holding some water jugs. I have some like 4-pound, they're half-gallon water jugs that I just have in hand. So we're gonna do 10 reps of each letter. So the first letter is a Y, going with thumbs up, keeping the torso from not moving and just going into shoulder extension. Keep the elbows locked. Then we're gonna go to a T. So straight horizontal abduction, palms facing each other, going out, contracting and retracting the traps at the top. And then we're gonna go to a W. So it's gonna be elbows close to your sides and then externally rotating with the band or with your water jugs. Next movement will be an L. So you can be bent over or standing upright. I'm gonna keep the hands out in front of you in row and then just do an external rotation and then back into a slight internal rotation. 10 reps of each of those letters. Then we're gonna move straight into counter push-ups or whatever angle you need for a little bit of challenge, but I don't want you to get burnt out or anything. Doing 30 reps on the counter. That'll be 1 round. Then we're gonna go right back through and do a 2nd round of this. The first exercise we're gonna start off with will be pretty heavy loading right away. So I want you adequately warmed up. So first we're gonna do an overhead press. And the reason I'm starting with an overhead press, for one, your shoulders can never be big enough, but also being restricted to body weight and resistance bands, I wanna make sure we can get really load heavy and get some pre-fatigue occurring before we go to some of the other exercises that are a little bit harder to load, like push-ups and dips. So for what we're gonna start with is, if you're really, really strong overhead presser, a handstand push-up. I know, I could only do 6 reps. It was extremely hard. I just took my shoes off and went up against my door, and I had a band under my hands just so I wouldn't slip. There's lots of things, different mats you could use. You could also do it on carpet. Make sure you have enough backward lean to when you do press, you don't fall back. So just control it on the way down. You can keep a little bit your head tucked back so you can get a little bit more depth and press back up. But keep these reps strict and it'll really challenge you. If that is just too much loading for you, the variation that you can do is just off like a counter or chair, keeping your feet up on it. Make sure you lock yourself like into a bridge. So keep your hips flexed, your butt way up in the air, and you're just gonna do a press, like kind of a push-up, but you'll be at the right angle for it to be like an overhead press. And that's another variation that you can do. So in the video, I did the handstand ones first, did 6 reps, and I went to the variation and I only did 12 reps. So it's also a way where you could be having some mechanical drop sets involved. Then the other variation you could do if you have a band is just seating with the band looped under your glutes and pressing up. That's just a seated military press. Depending on the band tension you have, it's definitely a viable option for you. You could even we're gonna do 3 sets here, so you can work your way down just like I did. I did my handstand push-ups into the counter overhead press, into the band overhead press. And I had like still worked within a good rep range for that. All sets were taken to probably right before I was about to fail. I didn't want to crush my face though. So moving on, that was our shoulder compound movement. We're gonna go into a chest compound movement now. The hardest movement that I could think of to do for this was a one-arm push-up. Never done a one-arm push-up before in my life, so I had to make some modifications. And what I came up with was, if you do have a band, take your band, and in the hand that's not working, wrap it around the shoulder that's going to be working, okay? And grab it with that hand. That way you can get some support and some resistance taken off doing your one-arm push-up. You can go down to the ground, just press up. They're really challenging. Even with the band giving me some tension taken off, I only got like 6 or 7 reps. And so it's very challenging that way. Another option is we can just do regular push-ups and taking a band and looping it around your back. This will add resistance onto your push-up. I had an average band. So the bands that I'm using, I have a mini band, a light band, and an average band. I'm using the average band for the push-ups. Really strict, hard contraction reps. I'm still getting right between 12 to 15 reps, even with the push-up using the band. Now, if you don't have a band, you could just do a push-up, and you're going to do higher reps. Again, there's ways that you could. If you have a partner or spouse, hell, you could have them get on your back. You could put extra, like in a backpack, and add weights to your backpack and do it that way. You could also put your feet up on your coffee table or chair and have a little bit different angle to load the pecs a little bit more. So that was the chest compound movement. 3 sets on that one. And then we're gonna move on to dips. So this will be our compound tricep movement for the day. It's gonna have some pec involvement too. So, and then we're also gonna have a tricep isolation. So for this movement, we're only gonna do 2 work sets. And what I did was I got on my coffee table and put a chair out in front of me, just in a dip position with hanging off of it. And I looped a band around the top of my shoulders and traps for extra loading for it. And it was plenty because I have that average band, so it loads the very top of the movement with a lot of tension. So again, I was still within a very reasonable rep range at under 15 reps. If you're not as strong in this movement, you can definitely just do it with body weight. You could even do it just standing with your feet out from the counter, just to be able to kind of give some middle ground between having your feet up and having them down. Another alteration to that, if any dip is still challenging, is diamond push-ups. And I attempted my diamond push-ups at the very, very end. And just to give you guys a body weight variation for a tricep movement. So diamond push-up, just literally making a diamond with your hands, bringing it down to the ground in a push-up position and coming back up. It's a lot of elbow flexion, a lot of tricep dominance there. They're extremely hard, but that is a variation that you could do. You could even go back to how I was outside with the band looped around my chest and do your diamond push-up that way, having the band come around the front of you. Moving on from there, I'm going to get into our isolation work. So we want something for side delts, and side delts is really, really tough when you only have body weight to work with. But I came up with something, and we're going to do a towel slide lateral raise. And so leaning into a wall, you're going to have roughly 30 to 45 degree lean into the wall with a towel against your elbow. And what you're going to do is keep your torso perfectly straight, hips in line. I don't want your hips to drop. That's going to make it a lot easier. Keep that perfectly plank aligned position, spine neutral, and you're going to drive that elbow up along the wall. And as you're pushing that elbow along the wall, you're pushing your body out and you're loading the medial head of the delt. And it's a great way to work. It works great, guys. You're going to get some trap work in it as well. So for that, we're going to do 3 sets and then we're going to give you another option, is just doing a band lateral raise, which is the most straightforward one. Standing on a band, just depending on what band you have, you could double loop it if it's a tiny band. You could just grab one strand of the band and just do a lateral raise from there. So 3 sets on anyone, as many reps as you can get. So moving on, we're going to do a tricep isolation work. And one option for you, if you just have body weight, is doing a counter tricep extension. So pretty much in a push-up position, leaning at an angle on any type of counter. You can find different degrees of angle depending on your strength level. All you're gonna do is bend at the elbows only, and what you're doing is reaching your elbows down to the base of the counter. So just getting elbow flexion and then extending back up and locking the elbow. Those are very, very challenging. Different angles is a different way to load the movement easily. Another option, if you have a band, is looping the band behind you and coming out for an overhead tricep extension. Depending on your band tension, you could have plenty of resistance doing that way. What you could loop it on behind you, I use my Stairmaster because it's extremely heavy, but you could easily do like a porch patio railing or some type of other railing that's outside, or a post of your patio. Those would all work well. If the overhead extensions bother you, you could still do just a push down, and that would work perfectly fine using your bands. Last movement, so I have calves on my push day. You could do them any day you want though. What we're gonna do is 4 sets of calves. So, because we're gonna hit these again in 4 days. So this is gonna be 8 sets total for your calf work. The best way, since we won't have a lot of loading for calves, and calves are a strong muscle group, we do a single leg calf raise just on a step outside. And to add some resistance, I took a band and attached it to the railing that's next to my leg, grabbed that band and loaded some more tension on, and just did a single leg calf raise. And you'll see my other arm is kind of bracing on the rail a little bit just for balance. You could easily take like another chair or something, or a cane or whatever you have, or broomstick, just to help balance you out a little bit. And again, like with the band and everything, I maybe hit 15 reps on my first set. So there's plenty of loading there. You could drop off the band and just keep your sets moving along in a good rep range. There's also another option just to hold something heavy. Since it doesn't take a lot of loading, if you have some dumbbells or even like a big water jug, you could do it with as well. That'll be the 4 sets for calves, and that will include our push day and our calf day. So I hope this is extremely challenging you and it maintains the gains. Hope you're enjoying the Animal Homegrown program. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, or you just need a variation idea. I'll brainstorm and think up something for you guys. But anyway, hang in there guys, and we'll talk to you again soon. Next workout is pull day.